So, Nibbles, J-Dog back to answer some more goddamn questions. Questions today should actually be pretty good ones. Or at least we'll get some fucking some facts settled here because it's on the is it old school by sound or is it after 30 years no matter what? So kind of get interested to see what your guys' opinion is. 157 comments are in there because yeah, the fucking let's see what the jury has to say. Kind of had this discussion. Athnar called me the other day too, and I got brought up. I was like, yeah, me and Don had a discussion. I was like, it's funny, I did a video on it a few days ago. I was like, I'm curious what your opinion is. And his take kind of was, he's like, yeah, I don't really think you could call something like Deeds of Flesh old school death metal. I think it's more so the sound or something like that. I was like, yeah, I was like, and I agree with that. I was like, but however, like when we're in the year of fucking 2050, is it old school then? He's laughing. I don't know, because eventually that time will come. You know, at what point is it not old? You know what I mean? So, anyways, see what the fuck guys have to say. Preferably questions, but we'll chime in if it seems like it's a good comment that read off that I can chime in on. But all the way down the goddamn bottom. Like I said, Deeds of Flesh and that old school death metal. No, I agree. I just consider them. I consider Deeds of Flesh third generation death metal. That's 100% what I consider them. What do you mean? What's third generation death metal? Well, it came in generational times, and the reason you got to use generational times is because it was drastically different. First generation is death, possessed, massacre, slaughter, insanity, shit like that. You know what I mean? Even Morbid Angel would be in there. Probably Obituary as well. They're kind of like first, second in there, but in there, you know what I mean? Second generation would be the obvious, is the Cannibal Corpses, Deicide, Suffocation, Incantation, Mortician, Sinister, stuff like that. Third generation was when bands are kind of trying to take that and make it like step it up another notch. Basically, each band take the previous fucking death metal and they're trying to make it more extreme. That's what I consider the generationals, 5-10 years later. And the next after the Cannibal Corpse and Suffocations was literally the Deeds of Flesh, Dying Fetus, fucking Aborted, Devourments, all those bands in the late 90s, early 2000s and shit that were trying to be more fucking out brutal the fucking predecessors. You know what I mean? So that's what I consider Deeds of Flesh, third generation death metal. Goday Township, iDog, J-Dog, are you excited about a new Cesspool of Vermin album? Nope, never even heard anything by them, so can't say that I'd be excited for anything. But who knows, maybe they're great. Some old metalhead, the posers at Chentra Media, is laughing his ass off. I mean, yeah, honestly, is that even debatable? I mean, there might be one guy or something that, or even the years, there probably was one or two people that, work up there that collect records and are passionate about music, but for the most part, yeah, complete fucking posers. I mean, anyone think otherwise? No doubt about it. Death Metal Dero, question mark. Question, do you know of any good metal bands from the Middle East and or Africa? They're generally pretty desolate metal-wise for obvious reasons. Uh, where's that band Arulia from? Arallu. Wasn't they? Aren't they from like not Iraq but Middle East, right? Put it there. I remember them being decent. Um, Africa. There is definitely somebody from South Africa. I'm drawing a blank as to fucking who. But not many. Oh yeah, I can't think of a shitload by any means. I mean, especially in the Middle East and stuff like take Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. I mean, fuck. I mean, shit. If you're wearing like a dismember shirt like this, you probably. Don't. I've never been there, and I have zero interest in going there. But so I could be wrong. But once you get kind of fucking like hung for it, killed for it, um, I could be wrong. But that's the vibe I get. So I mean, with that being said, I don't think that there's gonna be much of a scene if you're gonna fucking get lynched for a goddamn style of music. But but yeah, there's a bunch of shit that I'm sure there's a handful of bands, but put up the ones in there. I know there's definitely somebody from South Africa. I want to see like a '90s band too that I like, but I can't think of who. And then Arulu or however, because I remember that band first started. I think they asked us to sign them or whatever. We got a disc. I'm like, oh, it's pretty decent stuff. Didn't think it was great, but I was like, kind of a cool area that they're from, somewhere in the Middle East, I believe. You know others, put them in there because I'm drawing a blank as to who, but there's no doubt in my mind there's got to be at least a couple others. But yeah, very uncommon. Christoph Muller Olsen. Glenn Benton doesn't listen to any metal these days. He listens to Rush. His words from a recent interview. So like I said before, because obviously I don't give a shit, but it's funny. Like I literally said it before that interview came out, and then a lot of the tampon boys, and I don't know if like why, like it was with the Tom G shit. That's kind of why I poked that video hard, just kind of poking a bear type of shit. Like calling out Tom G, and what would he say? Just reviewing something to top and talk about. What the fuck else are we supposed to talk about on this channel? But the thing is like, why are you sitting there like getting all defensive for the guy? A, you don't know him. B, he probably wouldn't give a shit about you. C, you don't have anything in common with him. You just like his band. And I wasn't trashing the guy. I was just calling him out, saying he doesn't like shit. But with Glenn, when I called that out, it was before that fucking interview came out. I was like, yeah, dead ass fucking right. I mean, I'd say 95% of these guys that I call out or will call out, shit like that, I'll be wrong here and there. Like somebody actually did say, an older devil, I think I said something like, oh no, this guy, he definitely listens to metal X, Y, and Z. He posted these records, maybe about Rob Halford, I think. Okay, every now and then I'm not going to get it right every time, Every decision and thing you say out there is not going to be the correct one every time. You're going to make some errors, right? But I'll tell you right now, fucking 95 times out of 100, you call these guys out, yeah, they don't listen to fucking metal. Rush, ZZ Top, and fucking Led Zeppelin. But it's just, I think some guys are kind of laughing like I am. I was like, yeah, fucking J-Dog called that one. Like, way before. Look at my videos. Do the time frame. It was way before the fucking Glenn interview. Yeah, yeah. That's the norm. Trey Asgow. Think he's listening to metal? Zero interest, that guy. 100% guaranteed. Says, what about Entrails? They formed in 1991. Nobody cared about them. Did they form? First off, I'm a huge Entrails fan too, but I'm going to dog them too. I kind of knew that. I forgot all about that. We formed in 91. No, you didn't. What did you put out in 1991? You have a demo from 1991? Matter of motherfucking fact, I'm going to look it up on Metal Archives right now because I do have well, I think I have every release by Entrails within fucking reason. What I mean by that, if there's some obscure 7-inch or something I missed out on, it's possible, but I have all the CDs and LPs and the demo CD. I have that, which is fan-fucking-tastic. I don't recall one of the demos being from 91. Yeah, here we go. First release put out, it's the Reborn demo, so it's on the, what do they call that disc? Resurrected from the Grave demo collection. So if you guys don't know that, Resurrected from the Grave demo collection by Entrails, fucking fantastic. But anyway, so their first release, the Reborn demo, 2009. And then Human Decay demo, 2009. That's when they started. That's the biggest pet peeve of Dawn of the Dead, and that's if Dawn of the Dead says it, is it correct? As a matter of fact, a lot of things he says, him and I disagree on. But like a fucking grown-ass man, I could respect somebody else for having a different opinion. As a matter of fact, I kind of preferred you did. I don't want us to all think alike. We're a bunch of just a goddamn bunch of brain-dead fucking zombie-ass computer chips. You know what I mean? You should think for yourselves, have an opinion, and, So, yeah, a lot of things, especially with the metal scene, we don't agree on at all. A lot of bands we don't agree on. Gotti Throne, one of my favorite bands. I mean, they're the top, my top 30, I would say. He thinks it's unlistenable garbage. Fair enough. But one of his biggest pet peeves, and I do agree on this, is I'll just throw it out there. I mean, it's all good fun. He would call out necrophagia for all the time. Like, dude, every time you talk to Killjoy, dude, he's like, he goes down a year. Necrophagia started in 1986. See him a few years later, starting in 85, bro. Starting in 84. It's like, soon it's going to be starting 79, bro. The 70s, Sabbath, Sabbath years. It goes by. Your band, its official start date is when you put out your first release. That was Don's, like, for example, Gunslaughter. Ritual of Darkness demo, 1987. Deicide's first demo under Amon, 1987. Cannibal Corpse, first demo, 1989. That's when you started. I don't give a shit when you're tuning your guitar. I don't give a shit when you wrote the band name. Nothing. I don't give a shit when you're playing Mommy and Daddy's fucking backyard. Nothing. What evidence do you have an actual... And some of these guys, you got to be a little careful, especially with these Cabal guys. They're like, yeah, we got a demo in 1992, but you never met a soul in the underground. I'm talking about real devils that fucking collect shit. They can school me. Never heard of the demo. And they got every demo under the fucking sun. Never came by it, can't find it, because the general rule of thumb is in Cleveland, the old saying was, if a demo exists from, like, let's say, the 80s up until, I don't know, 1995, let's say, If a demo existed with black metal, death metal, grindcore between Jim Kanye, rest in peace, Dawn of the Dead, Dan Murrow, Dwayne Morris, and Chris Dora. Between those five people, if you contact all of them, somebody has it. They don't have it, it doesn't exist. No, one of those guys has it or has ever had it or can't get it. Greg Beal will be in that too. He's from Pittsburgh. God damn, these motherfuckers don't fucking call me. Watch this. The devil's answers number. Don't call this goddamn fucking number. That's how you answer a goddamn solicitor. Anyway, where the fuck we leave off? Oh, yeah. Talking about when a band started. Fucking, yeah. This Entrails started in 1991. Get the fuck out of town, brah. I'm a huge Entrails fan. No, you didn't. You started in 2009. But they're pulling that shit, well, no, you didn't. No, you fucking did not. 2009, that's when your band started. Now, you may have been talking about it. Maybe you had the name Entrails. Okay, whatever. That don't mean fucking shit. J-Dog has fucking tons of ideas for fucking band ideas. You know what I mean? I told you guys some lyrical themes, possible band names, et cetera, what I would do. J-Dog's fucking band start 10 years ago. He's never been in a band? No, fuck no. Put that in there, Devils. When do you think a band fucking started? First release, right? First actual release that some human soul can get, not like, because again, the Cavalt, that's what I was getting at, the Cavalt guys. And then, like, you don't know anyone in the underground, the Greg Beals and shit, who, there's no way one of these guys would not have come across or have it. They're like, never heard of it. You didn't put anything out there. You just find out, didn't it? Or they recorded something in their bedroom or whatever, and it's never even set out as a demo to the public or any metal scene to fucking hear, right? That don't fucking count. It's got to be a demo that was traded within, people actually had it and heard it. That's when your band started. What do you think, Devils? That's the Down the Dead opinion? That's the fucking J-Dog opinion? He agrees with them on that one? What do you think? When did your band start? So, Entrails, fuck off. You started in 2009. You're a great band. Love you. I think you're literally the best current Swedish death metal band ongoing right now, for sure. Every album's great. The last 2 to 3, that is good. The first 4 are fucking phenomenal. Obliteration Down, those are 10s, literally. After that, they're about 7.5s, I'd say. I still buy them. I like them. Not a turn in the catalog. The demo disc, fucking 10 as well. There's actually only one song I don't like on there. Was it called Depression, I think? It's a really slow doomy song. That's the only song that sucked in the demo disc. Everything else fucking made. And them covering Dismember Casket Garden. That was fucking out. Holy shit. This fucking I always loved that song, Casket Garden. I never heard anyone cover that song. That was a very pleasant treat for me when I first heard it, because I wasn't following the back of the disc. I just bought it, and it was the last song. I was like, holy shit, wasn't expecting that. I loved it. So, love Entrails, but fuck off. You didn't start until 1991. You started in 2009. Brah. So, yeah, take a hike. You're not old school. Play old school sound, old school Swedish death metal sound, but you ain't old school. You're a new band. Newbies. Super Bomb, J-Dog question, which do you like most in metal, the blast beats or the grooves? Or are you the 50-50 guy? Probably 50-50, because I love blast beats. Blasts are great, but it could be monotonous BS. You know what I mean? If it's got to have good memorability behind it. When a band could really do it when it's catchy too, I love that, especially when they could do really catchy shit with the blast. I'll give you an example, like the first CD, and I think it's not even considered an album, but I always consider the Prophecies Foretold by Dehumanized, where it's got those fucking blasts, but really kind of catchy. I think the Homeboys kind of dig that one too. Yeah, I would love to do an LP of that. Never been an LP, just a CD. I love shit like that. But when it's just kind of like blast and just monotonous bullshit, it may be cool. Grindcore is famous for that. So I'd say the two most famous for is grindcore and black metal, because both some of the extreme black metal have lots of blasts, but it's just got these boring riffs that all blur together that literally nothing standing out. I can't tell the songs apart. For example, I think it's funny too when people would say, yeah, Christian, they all sound the same, the songs. I'm not going to say they have those catchy grooves like goddamn Dehumanized, by no means, but for example, you listen to like my favorite, like I said, I go back and forth between Conquerors Armageddon or Apocalyptic Revelations. You think like Kings of Killing sounds like Creation Scourge or any of the other songs? Like, but it's all blast is what I'm getting at. Like, the songs totally sound different. Like I could literally tell every single one of them apart. Like every single one of them. Like, what do you mean? So the fact that there's all blast and their songs were all good and memorable, then that's when I like it too. But grindcore, again, like I said, because they'll kind of get to it the way it's where I really like sometimes you'll come across a grindcore band. I was like, never heard of these guys, and the blasts sound really cool, but everything else kind of like is just like. I was like, literally nothing stands out, and it all sounds the same. I was like, but just the drummer himself really fucking stands out. So. Human Brisket, morning dog. Is there any other bands that Dawn of the Dead consider to be labeled devil metal? Dawn of the Dead or me? I would say no. I can't think of it. I mean, he's never mentioned anybody, and I never asked, but I'm sure he would probably say no, and I would have to say no. That's another reason why I actually think Unslaughter is pretty fucking underrated, because literally, who sounds like them? Kind of like, again, another band, Macabre. Who sounds like them? Nobody. Who sounds like Blood Feast, especially the vocals, like especially the early albums? Nobody. You know what I mean? Like, there's not too many bands where it's like they've been around. It's not like, oh, they only been around for a few years. Give it another couple of years, and there'll be tons of bands that sound like them. I mean, you got bands like Incantation, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, Dismember, Tombs. I mean, there's hundreds of bands. Maybe I don't know if I'm going to go far and say thousands, but hundreds for sure that sound like them. Hundreds. But when you got a band like Nuzzle, I was like, that's kind of like a success right there. Like, nobody sounds like them. So, and like the fact that they call themselves devil metal, it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, the fact that they don't sound like anyone, how can anyone else be kind of considered devil metal? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's a more reason why I definitely think that they're definitely underrated. You know what I mean? Because again, we talked about it again. Create a style as it's just always the same old. Even bands that I like, you'll get them in, and I was like, yeah, I really like this new band or whatever. I was like, but it's another Carcass. It's another fucking Incantation. It's another goddamn, Dismember. It's another goddamn Fluid sounds like Mortician. You know what I mean? It's another band I've heard, like Experience. I mean, I'm not saying that's directly anything totally wrong with that. But when you get something you're like, fuck, nobody sounds like this. Pretty cool. So. Yeah, I would have to say nobody, unless there's somebody I don't know about. Like, who do you guys think? Is there another devil metal band out there? Richard Pittman, 666, Deranged and Incision and Eon are Sweden's most brutal. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Regurgitate, especially the first full length, I think as far as just sheer brutality, might have all of them beat. But who do I like more as a whole, Deranged or Regurgitate? I like Deranged more. But as far as we're just talking sheer guttural brutality, I would have to go with Regurgitate. You got 4 replies, too. Did anyone else say Regurgitate? Somebody else said Vomitory. They're good, too. But I wouldn't say they're the most brutal. They're more brutal than the Intunes and shit like that. Nope, nobody put up Regurgitate, so I will, goddammit. Regurgitate. Effortless Regurgitation of Bright Red Blood. Coming from Sweden within, like, not recent times. I'm sure there's some super brutal shit from the last 2000 up. Well, let's just say 90s on and shit, when kind of the brutality stuff was starting. Death metal was kind of at its peak, if you want to say that, or it's more infancy. Yeah, as far as extremity and brutality, I can't think of anybody that was more extreme than Regurgitate. Put somebody in there that was. Again, don't pull a band from 2010. Okay, yeah, they started fucking 20 years later. Put somebody back in that time between, I don't know, 1990 and, let's say, 97. Is anybody more brutal than Regurgitate from Sweden? Put it in there. I can't think of anyone. Yeah, people are all comedy. Glenn said he listens to Rush. Yeah, I tell you. People didn't want to believe me. Well, not that they didn't want to believe me. They're saying, oh, that's not true. Even my buddy Dan Murrow. He's like, that's not true. He still listens to metal. I'm telling you no. Yeah, I was dead ass right. Telling you no. Satanas and Paseo. Shout out to you, Rob. I definitely haven't seen you. So. Hey, J-Dog, what you think of the Swedish bands that started as death metal then evolved to their own style? I'm thinking In Tribulation, Morbus Charon, maybe Vampire. I love all these bands and their later works. Cheers from Portugal. I generally can't stand that, to be honest with you. And all those bands, like Tribulation was one that really stood out to me. The first album came out, was it The Horror? I believe it was the first album. I'm like, pretty good. I even think I own the LP of it. But if somebody offered me, hey, I want that for $100, Here you go. I'll give it to you. I mean, so like I got. I'm like, oh, okay. It's 10 million. Swedish death metal band, 10 million and one. And then after that, they changed the shit. I'm like, oh, this isn't even death metal anymore. These clowns didn't last long at all, just like Entombed and all the rest. That changed very quickly on. Morbus Charon, I remember. I don't know if I ever liked anything by them, but I remember the first album being like pretty, like thinking it was kind of unique. Who was another? Fuck, it's on the tip of my tongue. It started off like in the 2000s. Started off, put out like a Swedish sound death metal. Like, oh, another one of these. Like, yeah, it's okay. And then literally right after, like, oh fuck, they didn't take a long time to fucking change. Kind of Necrovation because they kind of steered off too. Their 7-inch was the best thing that Blood Harvest put out in the early 2000s. Necrovations, I think they were maybe a 2/7, one for sure. That was the best fucking shit. I remember when they did their first full length. I was like, kind of like it, kind of boring. Definitely not as good as the 7-inch. They stood out as that. And then they did the second album, and I was like, I don't care. It didn't suck, but I was like, I don't need it. But yeah, generally speaking, to answer your question, I don't like that. To their defense, I will say that they did kind of go on to do something a little bit more unique than, let's like say, great, another Swedish band that we didn't fucking need. It was more unique in that sense, but what they ended up going on doing was just stuff that I wasn't into, so I didn't carry the way. So kind of didn't care because it was like, oh, Swedish death metal band, 10 million and one, and then they changed, and it was like stuff. Oh well, now you're kind of playing stuff that I just don't care about at all. So take it for what it is. I mean, but I didn't think they were appalling or trash or anything like that. Like I wasn't annoyed when because it was a pretty decent seller for Hells too. I wasn't like I would buy that way over Ruins of Everlast or however you pronounce that band, or Blood Austin Order or something like that. I definitely prefer Tribulation and shit like that over that. But it's something that's like, yeah, I didn't need it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my take on it. Anyways, that's it for this one, Devils. Comments, questions, concerns. You know what the fuck to do. Put it in the goddamn comments box and get an answer bright into the morning. Later, goddamn it.